Is there leave of the House to consider Bill 214 this morning? Leave has been granted. Bill number 214, the Missing Persons Amendment Act, Silver Alert. The Honourable Member for Brandon East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move, seconded by the member from Gimli, that Bill 214, the Missing Persons Amendment Act, Silver Alert, now be read a second time and referred to a committee of this House.
It has been moved by the Honourable Member for Brandon East, seconded by the Honourable Member for Gimli, that Bill number 214, the Missing Persons Amendment Act, Silver Alert, be now read a second time and be referred to a committee of this House. The Honourable Member for Brandon East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, it is certainly a pleasure to stand before all of my colleagues today for my first private member's bill, being Bill 14, the Missing Persons Amendment Act, Silver Alert. Again, it's certainly I look at it as a nonpartisan bill that will really enhance the work that was previously done in this House, and I believe that all members can support this bill going forward. I think it's important to understand that the Missing Persons Act that came into effect in 2012 was authored, and we have the author in the House with us today, the Brandon Police Chief, was seconded by the government of the day, and they put together this bill, the original bill, and it certainly gives the police forces, it gives the public access to information when individuals go missing. Each day before we sit, Madam Speaker, and even this morning, you recite a prayer in our House, and I want to quote just part of it. It says that we are to frame such laws as may tend to the welfare of our people. And I truly believe that the amendments in this bill do exactly that. The province of Manitoba, we aim to improve services to our residents by creating a safe and secure environment for all persons, and to being able to have resources at hand in a fashion that is reasonable and brings resolution to missing persons as soon as possible. Madam Speaker, we can just certainly look around us, and we have an obligation as elected officials to look to the future, to see what we're doing now as compared to what's going to happen in a year, 5 years, 10 years. We always have to be looking at ways to improve, whether it's policies, whether it's bills. We have to look at efficiencies. And again, I look at this bill as something that we can continue to provide the necessary tools and resources to our police forces that aid them in performing their duties. Again, it's another tool that will be in their toolkit should they determine the need to use a Silver Alert. Changes to this act create a public broadcast message system that has proven to be an effective tool in raising awareness during a crisis, and it puts both the responders and the public on alert. Again, it is a move that will prioritize the actions of getting information out to the public in a way that is efficient and drawn on by the police forces. It is also important to know that the use of color codes and alerts are not new. As many in this House are aware, I had the distinct pleasure of working in the health industry in safety and security for 21 years. Part of my role in pre-hospital emergency services was working directly with the disaster and emergency preparedness team in planning and developing policy and direction on internal color codes. One of those color codes was the code yellow, which we used internally when a patient went missing and was then unable to be located in a certain time frame. We developed a process and a protocol that made it a top priority to ensure information was released to other workers in the healthcare industry so that we could do a search of the property. Part of that was going beyond, if we could not locate the patient, then we would involve the police. It's important to understand that the police would then have a role to play in connecting with media, in putting the pertinent information out so that the community would be alerted to such a process. Again, this code is initiated and it's been very effective in locating some folks. Unfortunately, it's not the end-all be-all, and I certainly don't believe that any bill that we put forward is going to be an end-all be-all, but let's keep in mind again our roles, which is to ensure we move forward in creating safer environments for all our residents. So, Madam Speaker, it is certainly proven that the development of a national emergency code within Canada allows for consistency, and it allows us to look from province to province to ensure we're doing the right thing, we're doing the same thing. And that's what happened with the color codes in healthcare, was we put it right across the provinces so that we knew when we heard a code, it was the same in every area. It's no secret that there is an Amber Alert out process that's out there that deals with children who have gone missing, have been abducted. And I need to make it very clear that while this Amber Alert process was started in 1996, I believe it was, when a young person in Dallas was kidnapped and brutally murdered, this process was put in place to help with the Amber Alert system in the States. 9-year-old Amber Hagman was the young person's name. But I need to clarify, and why I mention that here is because we do have a distinct difference between the Amber Alert and a Silver Alert. And I think it's important that we all need to understand that. So with the introduction, Madam Speaker, of a Missing Persons Act amendment, the Silver Alert, when an adult person with a cognitive impairment is missing and feared to be at risk, a systematic search process may be initiated to locate the person, including and involving the police as appropriate. The introduction of this bill will make it clear that the Silver Alert is just that. It's an urgent public notification. And I believe the title now more directly reflects the process of a Silver Alert. It should be known that over 36 U.S. jurisdictions already carry the Silver Alert, and we have an opportunity here in Manitoba to be the first province in Canada to implement that Silver Alert. Here's the cold, hard reality, Madam Speaker. We have an estimated 500,000 Canadians right now that have Alzheimer's disease. Manitoba alone, there are over 22,000 people with Alzheimer's, other forms of dementia, and cognitive impairments. These numbers are expected to double or even triple in the years coming, and by 2039, our number is expected to grow beyond 45,000 in Alzheimer's patients alone. So again, the provisions of this bill would encourage and support agreements between police agencies, broadcasters, and other partners for the purpose of collaborating in order to realize swift results by issuing a Silver Alert. There are some criteria, obviously, that we want to put in place that will assist the police officers in doing their job. And again, when we look at, it must be determined that the person is a missing person as described in the definition of the Act. The person must be an adult with a cognitive impairment. The person's safety and welfare are feared for given his or her cognitive impairment, and that there is information available that suggests that if this does go to the public, it will assist in the person's safe return. This bill also considers privacy legislation by allowing the police agencies to work through their media partners in order to provide eligible and pertinent information to the public. During a Silver Alert, information that will assist the public in identifying the missing person shall be limited to those that are already outlined in the bill. Information available to the public at the discretion of the police could be the name of the missing person, a physical description including height, weight, age, clothing if possible, a photo if available, limited serious medical conditions or information, vehicle type and color, and obviously the last known or possible location and any pertinent valuable information that may arise from that. Madam Speaker, during my preparations for this bill, I've had the pleasure of meeting with numerous groups and individuals. I've already mentioned Police Chief Ian Grant, who has helped us tremendously in moving the bill forward. Some of our internal staff, Joey Dearborn, I do want to mention for his help in this as well. We met with the Alzheimer's Society. I do want to acknowledge Wendy Schindler, who is the CEO of the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba, for their valuable input into the changes into this act. And of course, the Winnipeg Police Service as well. We sat with the Winnipeg Police Services, and they provided some valuable information in getting us to where we are today. We vetted this through all the proper channels and got great feedback. But since doing that and since being on the order paper, Madam Speaker, we have had the opportunity to be in touch with folks, I'm going to hazard to guess, Canada-wide, We've received a lot of accolades in emails and letters. I even did a brief interview on the radio station in St. Catharines last weekend because they've picked up the story. Everybody is looking at Manitoba to be the innovator, and this gives us a great opportunity to do such thing. So again, I did receive one that I wanted to mention. One such support letter was received from the President and Patrol Commander of the Urban Knights and Ladies Veterans Outpost Patrol, Patrick Marsh. Patrick is an Aboriginal PTSD veteran, senior, and Métis elder who has applauded this initiative and looks forward to it becoming law. So just in closing, Madam Speaker, this is a nonpartisan bill. I believe it is one we can all get behind. It certainly enhances the lives of Manitobans, while nothing replaces the eyes and the knowledge of your families, your friends, and your neighbors. Again, it is one more tool that the police departments in our province can have to do their job effectively. So again, in closing, I would ask each member of this House for their support on this very important bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.